And you went on to work with Burt Reynolds and BL STRYKER after that.
Yeah, oh, the most fun. I had so much fun doing that.
Did that come out of the Playhouse 90, do you think?
I don't know. I know this, that Burt Reynolds really, really appreciates actors. He loves and respects and admires actors. If I were to play his ex-wife, which is what I did in BL STRYKER, it's because he wanted me there. He obviously thought that I was a wonderful actress, and probably had always wanted to work with me, for all I know, because that's how he always ends up with certain actors in his shows. And it was just marvelous for me. She wasn't the stereotypical Hispanic. She wasn't Hispanic at all. She was really a rather arrogant, very funny character who plays his ex-wife, who goes around saying things like, "Do you know who I am? You can't treat me this way," and makes him crazy. She just makes him. She drives drives him wild. And so there was a marvelous chemistry between the two of us. Just lovely, lovely tension and comedy. And the pleasure of working with Burt in the show is that we improvised all the scenes I did, because somehow the dialogue never seemed right enough. So I'd say, "Do you mind if I say this?" And he'd say, "No, do you mind if I say that? And you mind if I say that instead?" And it would still be the same scene, but it would be more or less in my words, or what I felt were the characters' words. And that's how the scenes always turned out so funny. And just 2 weeks ago, I met Liza Minelli, who embraced me and carried on about an episode she had seen me do in BL STRYKER. And she said, "If you can ever get a copy of that, I want it." She said, "You know, I'm on the road so much, and one night, between shows or something," she said, "I tuned in, and there you were on BL STRYKER." And she said, you did a scene that she said was pure genius." And I said, "Was that the laughing, crying scene? Because why would I be pure genius, in that show?" But I knew that there was one scene that was really quite marvelous, where my fourth husband has died, and I'm at his funeral, and Burt is sitting next to me as one of my ex-husbands, saying, "You're gonna miss him," and she's crying, and she says, "Yes." And he says, "And how did it happen?" She says, "Well, there we were, making love." And he said, "In the saddle?" She says, "Yes." And I had one other line, and then I start to laugh and cry, and I have this cackle. Anyway, I can't really duplicate it, because that took an enormous amount of energy to do that. And I remember Burt saying, after the first rehearsal of the scene, he says, "Okay, we're not going to rehearse this anymore." And he said, "Crew, cast, do not look at her. I don't want anybody laughing and ruining this, because she can only do this so many times." Because I was really crying. And we did it twice. And I remember looking peripherally at one point, and the cameraman's like this. And some people had their faces on the floor, the crew. It was funny. It was very, very funny. And I don't know where that came from, where I was able to do that. But it really was very funny. And but how wonderful, all these years later, to have Liza Minelli, whose work I adore and admire, say that to me. And she just kept saying to everybody, "Do you know what she did? Do you know what she did?" She was laughing. She was crying at the same time. It's genius. It was just brilliant. It was brilliant. It was nice. That's great.